These are the fabulous kids of RuPaul's drag convention. They are reporting advice on the photos. They have a big convention for all the drag queens. And these are the fabulous kids of the drag convention. Is this fabulous, folks? Is this fabulous? Look at this. You know, I look at something like this, and my first thought is, and I think this should be the first thought for anybody, if you're doing something, whether it's photography or whether it's cultural, and you think to yourself, will pedophiles like this or dislike this? Will pedophiles be really excited by this or not? And if you answer in the affirmative, I think you should just stop what you're doing right away, right? I mean, isn't that what a normal person would say? You know, you're out there and maybe you're an honest-to-goodness liberal. Maybe you're like, well, I have a couple of gay friends and they should just get married. But you go to something like this, you go to the drag convention, and you see 2-year-olds in a bra, like half naked. You see people with this makeup. They're with drag queens with all the sexual innuendo, and you think to yourself, are pedophiles, or people that molest and abuse children, are they going to be excited by this or not? If you answer in the affirmative, I think if you can answer in the affirmative, you're basically a Satanist if you go ahead with it anyway, and that's exactly what they do. I mean, this is downright the sexualization of children. And people say, oh, it's harmless. People say, oh, and this is people on the left, not normal people we're talking about. They say, oh, it's all in good fun. They're expressing themselves. No. Wrong. This is an explicitly sexual culture. I mean, the whole point of it is about innuendo and about all that. It's in clubs where you're drinking and all the rest. What is makeup for? The point of makeup is to make yourself more sexually appealing. And so what you see here is the systematic sexualization of children. And this is where we point to vice, but even more broadly to the culture. And this is where we say, unequivocally, without compromise, that the left, the globalist establishment, this is not incompetence, this is not ignorance, this is not a difference of opinion. This is deliberate and this is evil. These people are demons. They're not people, well, we have a couple of subtle disagreements. You know, I happen to think that children should not be sexualized. Yeah, that's just one of those differences of opinion that you could work out in a Lockean, John Stuart Mill style debate. No. Wrong. These people have to be opposed with fanatical, religious devotion. So we go on, yeah, it's fire. Oh, it's lit. It's so lit when you sexualize baby children. I've been doing drag since I was 2. I would take my mom's towels and bed sheets and anything I could get my hands on and turn them into savage outfits. Yas. What kind of country do we live in? We're not living in a clown world. We are living in hell world. I mean, just read this stuff. 2 years old. Do you think a 2-year-old can make a sound decision about this? A 2-year-old, oh, I'm a homosexual drag queen now. Really? Or is that being forced on them by the parents? And instead of calling child services on the parents, instead of in a normal country, we take the kids out of that situation, they're on the cover of a major magazine, and people, oh my God, it's so progressive, it's so great. This is a society that deserves to burn. This is a society that deserves, there is nothing salvageable here. I mean, we can try, and we can try to bring back some of the things that were lost, but this is something that is so, I mean, this is why God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, this is that level of depravity. I don't know how anybody could look at this kind of thing and think that the left and what is going on in the country is anything but demonic, anything but satanic. And that's the chief fallacy that we try and tackle on the show, is we are beyond the point of debate. We are beyond the point of compromise or pragmatism. We are moving in 2 very different directions on very much higher levels. Not political, not logical, not in terms of fiscal. It is spiritual. It is of a higher dimension. They have 2 fundamentally different visions of the world. Are we going to be this hellscape where the children are sexualized, everything goes against God, everything is disordered, and we have sex with men and women, and there's no marriage, and there's no families, and it's polygamy, and it's about consumption, and, you know, we're all just this deracinated, rootless class of individuals that toil away endlessly for cheap food and cummies. I mean, is that going to be our society, or are we going to move back towards something that is ordered, something that is looking towards a divine, looking at a higher nature. That's a disagreement. That cannot be reconciled. That cannot be negotiated. The only way that can be settled is with conflict. And I'm not talking about violent conflict. You know, it hasn't gotten to that point. Maybe it hasn't gotten to the point yet. Who knows? But it can only be decided by us taking it into our own hands. And that's why this kind of stuff about Turning Point USA is bad and they're McCarthyites, it does not matter. There are no rules anymore. We are at war with Satan's forces on earth, with demonic forces. And there can be none of this, well, we have to have reasoned debate. We can't go down to their level. All is fair in this war, because what we're fighting for is nothing short than the fate of children like this. You look at people who are defenseless. You look at people who are innocent and harmless. And a child is the most, I think, divine expression of God, because these are people that are totally innocent. These are people that have not been touched by the evil of the world. And you see, this is what they're up against. This is what they're up against in the schools, in the media, in entertainment, in their own homes, from their own parents. They don't stand a chance. And so that's why we have to do it. That's why we have to fight. We have to fight brutally, without compromise, and there it is.